the past 12 years, I've been a first responder. Started my EMT career in 2010. I didn't have legal papers. People don't know how luxurious things are when you don't have it. As a kid, you watching your friends grow up with you. In high school, they're driving and you're not. After high school, they going to college, you're not going to college.
Meet Vladimir Rene, pioneer of North Miami Senior High School and a first responder whose journey reflects the spirit of an entire community. As he shares his experiences overcoming financial hardships and the profound power of a dream, we are reminded of the true cost of success and the responsibility we have to cherish opportunities. This is more than just a story. It is a testament to the courage of a new generation.
What was your upbringing like?
My upbringing was like any typical Haitian household upbringing.
EMT school challenging in any way?
EMT school was very challenging. Every week, every 2-3 days, you have a quiz. It was very, very challenging. God was preparing me for my career.
Welcome to Jules Legacy Enterprise Productions. This is your home for powerful stories and game-changing insights. This segment, Conversation with the Pioneers, highlights the success stories of North Miami Senior High School pioneers and guests who just might change your life forever. Every episode brings in fresh energy and unexpected inspirations, so stay tuned because you never know who might just light your path.
On today's episode, we have a special guest, Vladimir Rene. Vladimir Rene has been a first responder for the last 10 years and is a proud graduate of class 2007 from North Miami Senior High. Vlad, what was your upbringing like?
Hey, thanks for having me, Christian and Job. My upbringing was like any typical Haitian household upbringing, you know. I don't want to do the cliche that they always do, that the 3 L's, but it is what it was, you know. So I'll start with my journey started in Haiti. My parents was going through something, and my mom decided that she didn't want us to see what was going on with the family, and she said, I want my kids to move to Miami. So that's how we got our visa, and we ended up in Miami.
Okay.
And then our first travel was in 1997.
Okay.
1997, and then we came here, me and my brother. It was so bad that they had to send us back.
They sent you back to Haiti?
Yes, my aunt. They're like, nah, we can't keep them. They're so bad that they sent us back. So 1998, we came back again, same thing. And then in 1999, my mom was like, listen, I can't. If you guys come back to Haiti, you know, like I don't know how I'm going to deal with you guys. So do something and be on your best behavior and stay. So I remember that day that I was supposed to go stay with one of my uncles, and he changed his mind. So now I didn't do anything wrong, me and my brother, but we had to go back because nobody was willing to watch us. And
So we had to go back to Haiti?
again, the third time, right?
Okay.
But on that night before the flight was in the morning, the night before, one of my cousin came and she was like, man, I haven't seen you in so long. You grew, oh my God. You know, I was like, yeah, but you know, this guy was supposed to watch me, but he said he can't anymore. And my mom already told me if I go back to Haiti for a third time, you know, she gonna bring out the belt. So she was like, you know what? Something in my heart tell me to keep you and watch over you.
Oh, wow.
I said, man, you do that? She like, yeah. So I rushed to my dad. I said, Dad, you know, my cousin said she can watch me. My dad, I know. We already got the ticket. We go back to Haiti. I'm like, please let me stay. And then my dad was like, okay. And at the time, I was 9 years old.
Yeah.
Like, you know, my dad just gave me my luggage, my passport, and all my important documents. And then I went and stayed with the lady.
Man, how was that? How was that experience living with her?
It was a great experience, and it was she taught me a lot as a kid. So I remember the night at her house, right? My sister came from work, so my sister lived like down the block from her.
Okay.
And then she was like, "What you doing here?" I said, "Well, she agreed to watch me, and I'm staying." My sister was like, "No, your flight is in the morning. Like, you can't stay."
Yeah.
I was like, "Well, she already got my passport, all my important documents. Dad said it was okay." And she was like, "Nah, Nah, pack your things, grab your stuff. I'm gonna go back, take you to my dad. So the next morning you can go back to Haiti. I said, look, I'm crying now. I'm like, listen, mom already told me if I go back to Haiti, I can't do it.
The bell coming on.
And then I'm crying. I remember like she took me back to my dad's like 2 minutes before we got to the house. And I'm crying. And then it was my sister in the back seat with me, my cousin and her boyfriend was driving, taking us to my dad so I can leave. And then I was crying and he was like, man, he's already here. I'm here, you here, everybody here, we can watch him. Like, you know, you see the guys crying, begging to stay. And my sister was like, you know what? All right, no problem. And we turned back, and that's how I ended up staying here in Miami.
Oh, man.
Was it a specific reason you didn't want to go back to Haiti, or?
Maybe because subconsciously, the things that was going on with the family, my mom and my dad.
Okay.
Before I left Haiti, they had a big fight. You know, it was really messy, you know, like, and that fight broke the family apart.
Sheesh.
Yeah.
Sorry to hear that.
Sorry to hear that. But Vlad, so you have been a first responder in the community for about 10 years now, right?
10 years, yeah.
It's a whole decade.
Yeah.
So could you explain to us what you do exactly? Because I did only say first responder. I didn't mention what you do. I didn't mention your job description or anything like that. I want you to actually, you know, say what you do and the process of actually getting into that.
Yeah. Well, I'll say 12 years. For the past 12 years, I've been a first responder. You know, I started my EMT career in 2010.
Okay.
And at the time, I remember I went to a small school on 183rd and 2nd Avenue by the Lincoln building.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
But that school wasn't accredited. So I was so excited, you know, like, man, I'm gonna be a first responder. You know, I'm excited. And they had the program in high school, but I couldn't join the program in high school because, like, I didn't have legal papers. You know, I'm not ashamed to say that.
Yeah.
Like, once my visa was expired, that was it. That was it, you know? So I couldn't go to college. I couldn't do anything.
Until you got your papers?
Until I got my papers. So from 2007, from North Miami Senior High School, when I graduated, I was working at the flea market. But before graduation also, I was also working at the flea market. I started working at the flea market since 2003. So I did 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th grade working at the flea market. Because my mom was in Haiti at the time. My sister was working a part-time job, and I had to contribute. You know, as a young man, I was working 13, 14 hours a day for like $20 a day, $30 a day. Back then, I thought like, man, I'm making money.
Yeah.
That was the mindset. But I was getting
Pennies on
screwed,
the dollar.
if you say, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Like, how could you make a 13, 14-year-old work 12 hours, and then at the end of the day, you
give
give
them
them
$20.
$20, $25. But me, I thought like, man, I'm going to school, I'm buying my own lunch, I'm buying my own shoes, clothes. I thought it was good. But yeah, I worked all 4 years in high school. I was a student athlete. When everybody was going home and having fun, I was going home, get ready, go to the flea market. When I don't have practice, I would just like find something to do, you know, like catch the bus, ask for, you know, a ride, and that's how I did it.
What sport did you play?
I played soccer.
Soccer?
Which position?
Goalie.
You played goalie?
Yeah. And I wanted to improve my skills. And my good friend Jobin, he's not here today, and he asked me, he's like, yo, man, you ever think about being a football player? I'm like, football? I'm Haitian. I love soccer, bro. Like, he like, I think you should go try it. Like, they have cornerback, and they have
Nah, you was running back, bro.
No, they have safety and stuff. I'm like, hey, explain the rules to me.
Yeah.
Like, maybe you'll be good at safety. You know, you stay in the back and you watch the ball. If the ball comes your way and you coverage, I'm like, oh, that's like goalkeeping, right? I'm the last guy, you know? So I got into it, and it helped improve my skills on the soccer field. So I was reading the plays. I was reading because I was the last guy. I know where the ball was going to go, and I already knew. You know, I'm looking at the body movement, the eyes and stuff like that, and that made me a all-day goalkeeper.
Oh man.
He was all
man.
Dade?
Yeah.
First team or second team?
Yeah, second. I mean,
No, that's still good.
all day, man. And we had a pretty good squad. But yeah, so go back to that story is that, so I was working for all 4 years of high school, right? And after high school, I kept working. Because before I get there, I didn't even know I didn't have papers, bro. As a kid, you come into this country like,
Don't even know you
8
need
years
papers.
old. I don't know.
Yeah.
I flew in a plane. I'm thinking I'm good. I didn't come here on a boat or anything like that or try to cross the border. I came here legally. I thought I was good. I remember my friends, they went to Aventura Mall. They went to look for jobs. And they're like, Vlad, we got jobs, man. Let's go get you a job. And I was like, yeah, let's go. Let's do it. And then the guy was like, oh, I like this kid. Here's an application. At the time, he had to fill it out by hand, manually, bro. I'm like, okay. And I saw Social Security number. I'm like, what is this? He's like, your social. I'm like, my social? What's a social, That's the blue card. It allows you to work in the United States. I was like, okay, cool. I don't know. Maybe my mom got it. So I was so happy. I went home with the application. And I told my mom, look, I'm getting a job, give me my social and this and that. And she looked at me, she like, social? She said, so sad. I was like, yeah. She like,
You don't got that.
you don't got that, son. You're illegal at this point because your visa expired a while back.
Wow.
And I done went to elementary school, middle school. Now I'm like halfway through high school. You telling me that I'm illegal? I can get deported, and that changed
Your mindset.
me forever, my mindset. So certain people I used to hang out with, I don't hang out with
Because you didn't want to get in trouble.
Exactly. Because I knew from then I get in trouble, I'm going back to Haiti. And my mom always told me, if you ever do something, you go back to Haiti, I'm going to let you starve, and then I don't know what's going to happen to you. So that was that. Like, I had to clean up my act. I used to run around with the boys, fighting in school, doing all that. No, I cut that. Now it's like, man, how can I get my papers? But I was young at the time. Couldn't get married. I'm 15, 16. How am I going to get married? So that's why I was working, saving money. Even though people treat me like garbage, they pay me like nothing, bro.
Pennies on the dollar.
And the heart of human beings, sometimes I don't understand it, bro. And then when they know, the fact that they knew like, man, this guy ain't going nowhere because who's going to hire him? He has no legal documents. And they were right. Who was going to hire me? If you're not giving me cash money, I can't do anything. So I took it, man. Took it for 7 years. 7 years of my life. And I was working at the flea market for pennies on a dollar. But that still opened the door for me to make me who I am today. I didn't know that God was preparing me for my career. Now I can work a 24-hour shift at the firehouse and I don't get tired. I can work a 48-hour shift. I don't get tired because I've been working long hours since I was a kid. It's in me now.
Yeah.
Like, that's who I am since I was 13.
Got it.
So working 4 years while in high school. After high school, I worked 3 years at the flea market. And, when things happen in this life that seems like a big tragedy to a lot of people, to the world, it benefit other people, right? And I'm going to tell you why I say that. It's because in 2010, 3 years after high school, the earthquake happened in Haiti. They said over 500,000 people died, but I grew up in Port-au-Prince, born and raised. I know how many people in Port-au-Prince. They just compact, like dense with people, right? They say it was 500, but I know at least 1 million people died, at least. Because at the time of the earthquake, there was like almost 5-6 million people living in Port-au-Prince, and half of those people got damaged. You tell me only 500,000 people died? No, I think more people died. But it was a big tragedy, but I got a blessing from it because Obama came out at the time, his first term, he came out and said, hey, there's a very bad thing that happened to Haiti, and I would like to give all Haitians living in the United States papers, which was a TPS, the temporary protected status. And there you go. The thing I was struggling to get,
you actually got
out of nowhere, it came. My social came. Now I'm doing my driver's license. It's crazy. I was driving with no license for 3 years after high school. 3 years.
Wow.
Never got pulled over, nothing. The day I got my license.
the day you got pulled over.
I got pulled over. I didn't even have my license. You know, if you're an American citizen, when you go do your license, they give it to you right away on the spot.
Yeah.
If you were a resident or
Very protected status.
right, they tell you, hey, here's a paper, we'll send it to you by mail. I had to present that paper to the cop. I said, listen, I just got my license. And then he was like, man, just go home, man. You know, like, he probably a new driver, he doesn't know. And it's crazy, man. So I got my license, I got my social, so now I can apply for school.
And that's how you got into the EMT?
That's how I got into EMT. One of my friends was like, hey, man, you ever think about being a firefighter? I was like, yeah. They had the program at the high school when I was in school.
Yeah.
Remember that program?
I remember that program.
Yeah. I'm like, definitely.
Sign you up.
Sign me up. And then we called another friend. And then, you know, 4 of us started. Out of the 4 of the group, I was the only one that came out successful in that career.
Why do you think that is?
Well, I don't know, man. I gotta thank God for it, man. He always had a plan for me, and you know, always had my back. You know, my mom, like we talked about earlier, the 3 L's, my mom was a big, strong. She still is, you know.
Prayer warrior.
Prayer warrior, bro.
Believer.
My mom is 71 now, right? Wow. I'm old, right? She had kids late, right? She still wake up, bro. 3 a.m. And that lady just had 12 o'clock midnight prayer. She'll wake up at 3 a.m., pray, 6 a.m., 9 a.m., and 12 p.m. And then 3 p.m., just keep on going, clock. And that's how she, till this day.
Yeah, at this point, it became a lifestyle.
Lifestyle.
Yeah, so it's part of her.
So I think it's because of her that blessing was always covering me everywhere I go, man. Things happen that I'm like, how do that happen, and why me? Pretty much. Maybe God see that, man, this guy suffered enough, man. He been through enough. Or maybe it's just like, hey, I'm the chosen one. Who knows? I don't know. You know, like there's a saying in Creole that says, "Pide va en awe."
Yeah.
Meaning, you know,
further ahead
we'll see. You know, we'll understand. So one day I'll understand why.
Was EMT school challenging in any way, or?
Yeah, EMT school was very challenging.
And what made it challenging?
Imagine you left school. You know how people graduate and right away they continue schooling. I left school for 3 years.
So you didn't have the structure.
Didn't have the right. It's
Yeah.
like, man, 3 years. Now I'm gonna get back into a program that designed like the EMT program. If we've been, you know, honest, that program should be a year.
How long was it?
It was 3 months to 4 months, like 4 months.
Okay.
They compact everything into like just one short period of time. Now, I don't think that's a long time for people to learn. So now, for a guy who just like getting back into school and then learning something so profound, like people's lives in your hand, like you gotta learn every single bone of the body, every nerve, every structure, everything. How the human body works, how the nervous system works, the respiratory system, the cardiovascular system, all of that. You it's like, man, all of this, you just got to learn in a short period of time. Every week, every 2-3 days, you have a quiz. It was very, very challenging. But I always think back and say, hey, listen, the guys I'm with, they have their parents to say, hey, here. I didn't have my parents to give me money. So I had to really like, hey, you know what?
You didn't have a plan B.
I didn't have no plan B. Straight plan A. Everything that I do in this life is always plan A. I never have a plan B. And that's how I always end up being successful.
So after EMT school, what's the next process?
After EMT school, the next process, technically, if you follow in the guidelines on how to become a firefighter, which I help a lot of people do mentorship, you know, like on how to be successful in the firefighting career, or EMS, you know. The steps that I give them is, after EMT, you're supposed to do paramedic. Get the medical side out the way. Then you go to fire academy.
Why do you say that?
Because I think it gives you a better shot when you're applying for a job. Most departments in South Florida, you have to be a firefighter paramedic, not a firefighter EMT. So me, I did it backwards because I didn't know. Nobody told me anything. So I wanted to get my fire EMT, then go straight to fire academy, get my firefighter license. Now I'm firefighter EMT. Now I'm hireable. Because once you get your fire and EMT, most departments will hire you. And then they'll probably pay to send you to paramedic school.
Yeah.
But you gonna compete with a lot of paramedics. Why not just get your paramedic, get it out the way, then go to fire school? When you come out of fire school, you be a firefighter medic, and the world is yours.
So it's EMT school, then paramedic, and then the fire academy.
Fire academy, yeah.
So the whole process will take you how long to actually become a firefighter?
About 2.5 years. If you serious, if you do it full time.
Do you get paid in the fire academy?
No. You get paid in the fire academy if you get hired with a department. Let's say Miami-Dade County, they just closed their applications. They have a program where if they hire you, like they call it 0 to hero, right? You got nothing. They'll hire you while you in EMT school. Yeah, they paying you to go to school. And then while you're in the fire academy, yes, they paying you because they hire you that way. But if you already have your stuff, you coming in, no, while you going to EMT, paramedic, and fire, you don't get paid unless you get hired with a department. Then they'll pay you.
So were you working part-time the whole time?
The whole time I was working full-time. 2 jobs. When I was in EMT school, I worked 2 jobs.
Right.
I was working at the flea market still. That's where it all started. And I was working at Checkers. Because now I'm like, man, I gotta, use my social. So, hey, something I always wanted, bro. I gotta use it, bro. Like now I'm telling people, look, I have a check. Like I got a bank account. I got a car. Man, people don't know how luxurious these things are when you don't have it. You watching your kid, your friends, right? As a kid, you watching your friends grow up with you. Now in high school they're driving and you're not. After high school they going to college, you're not going to college. They're working, they having paychecks, they free, bro. And you feel like you're in this cage. You watching every move, every step. You hiding, like you hiding in fear. Let me tell you a story, bro. I remember I was going, it's sad, but it's funny. Now I'm looking back, it's funny. I was going to the flea market to work. And at the time, I think, in 2007, it was George Bush, right?
Yeah.
Because in 2008, Obama came into right.
Yeah.
And George Bush was similar to Trump, like, hey, send him back. You catch them, send them back. So, and at the time, immigration was over there on Biscayne, 79th, right? That building they tore down not too long ago. Yeah, that was at the immigration building. So, I had to catch the 3. The 3 runs Biscayne Boulevard and get off on 79th, catch the L, go to the flea market. So they were deporting a lot of people at the time. And then my mom called me. She said, Vlad, I'm just going to say it in English. It's too long to translate. Vlad, wherever you're at, you better hide because they deporting a lot of people. And guess where I'm at?
Work.
No, I'm
right there by the immigration.
I swear to God to you, bro. I'm on the bus, and I did one of these. Bro, I lay so flat until we passed the immigration building, bro. You know, like it's you don't know what you got until it's gone, bro. Like, you know, I used to envy these kids that was born and raised in America, bro. You have papers and then you don't do nothing with it. You don't want to go to school. You don't want to learn nothing.
But one thing I do realize though, Vlad, is
you know?
one thing I do really realize is that people that come here actually take it very serious. The people that's actually born here.
True.
So I see that a lot actually.
In the past, I used to date this young lady. She's an African American, very smart, right? College graduate, very smart and stuff like that. And she used to argue with me, oh, the education system here in America sucks, or it's no good. They just pushing the blacks down, you know? As a Haitian, grew up in Haiti, I'm like, have you seen the education system in Haiti? Like, this is amazing. Man, you go to school for free. Did you know in Haiti right now, I don't know the exact stats, but 90 plus percent.
Mm-hmm.
90+% are private school, bro. That means that if you don't have some type of money to send your kids to school, they're gonna be illiterate. They can't learn anything, bro. And most of the schools all of them are in French. People are like, oh, Haitians speak French. No, we don't. If you don't go to school and learn French, you don't speak French, you learn Creole. That's the national language. I don't know why they keep saying Haitians speak French. Even when we do speak French, you can tell like our French is not authentic, you know? Like it's different from someone from France or Martinique or all those places, like those French colonies. So 90%, bro, they go to a private school. So when you come here, you're like, man, I don't have to pay for school. I don't have to pay for lunch. Bro, when you don't have something and you come over and you like, man, I never had that, and you have it, you're gonna thrive. Kids who are born and raised here, they don't know. Honestly, they don't know. That's why a lot of our parents that had kids here in America back in the days, they used to send their kids to Haiti.
I didn't know that. That's
why they did it. They did it for that cause, so they can see someone struggling. They're like, oh, okay, I see now. And that's why they used to threaten us. Oh, ou pa fè sa nan vo Haiti. Oh, you don't do what you told you're going to Haiti. That's why.
I think it's like that in everywhere in life, in a sense, because when you have something, even if it's in business, even if, let's say, someone who's wealthy, like when a child is born into wealth, all they see around them is wealth.
Right.
Their mindset will be different than somebody who's never grew up in wealth.
Right.
So once maybe that person had to jump through hoops to get where they are, they treat it differently.
Right.
It's the same as like, for example, growing up, now I have a better understanding of it. I remember one thing I used to do growing up is when it's time to brush your teeth and take a shower in the morning, you had the water running, right? Brushing my teeth while the water's running.
Just going.
And Dad used to say, hey, turn the water off. I was like, why is he asking me about to turn the water off?
That used to always do that.
Why what's wrong with just the water on? Isn't it, in my mind I'm thinking, isn't it free? Like, because I'm not paying anything.
Yeah.
It's not, I don't feel it.
You don't know.
So his mindset was different. How he's looking at it, hey, every time that water's running, that meter's running, and I have to pay for it. Mm-hmm. But for me, I'm living in it. So it's like, I don't see the big deal. So for you, coming from Haiti and the difficulties and the struggles that you've seen, and not having the legal paperwork to be able to work, you would look at it different than those that already are here.
Yeah.
So I would say, like, when you're going to school and going through the EMT process and the EMS, like, what are some of the difficulties and challenges that you faced?
There's a story I was okay. I'm gonna tell you two.
Okay,
right?
yeah, give it to
Those
us.
are the two main ones. Like I was saying, like when I started EMT school, I was excited. Did the whole program, paying all my money, all the money that I saved from the flea market and checkers. So because everything that I've done the past 10, 15 years, been straight out of pocket. I have no student loan. I have no debt. I never even applied for financial aid. Nothing. Because growing up with my dad or the Haitian mindset, because Haiti's so messed up, the government, so we don't like asking the government to help us, right? That mindset is like not in us. We don't ask for handouts or nothing like that. So to me, I wish I knew I had a different mindset. I would have applied for financial aid. There's a lot of great things I missed on, but the fact that it's like, nah, I'm not. So I never applied for loans. I never applied for financial aid, nothing. Everything been out of pocket. So I'm paying EMT school.
How much was it around that time?
At the time, it was like $3,500 in 2010.
Okay.
Right? Probably more now. Who knows? But I don't know.
Is it Miami-Dade?
No, I didn't go through Miami-Dade.
Okay.
Because I wanted to start right away. Miami-Dade had a waiting list.
Okay.
And that school was like, oh, we'll take anybody, I'm like, perfect. And 2 weeks before we graduated, they came out and they're like, hey, everybody got to leave. You guys are done. We're like, what do you mean you're done? 2 weeks from graduation, like, we're excited. They're like, no, the school is not accredited. And nobody got their money back.
Wow.
After saving all that money, bro, and I barely had it because I was helping my mom, in 2004, my mom had a stroke, when she moved she came visit us in Miami, because remember, we were living here for a while before she came. She came and visit, and she had a stroke. Boom.
While she was here?
Yeah, and that's how she ended up staying here. So the doctor was like, yeah, she can't work anymore, this and that. My mom was in a wheelchair for 6 months. We thought she was never gonna walk again.
Wow.
If this lady tell you she was like no arm movement, nothing, man. She was in a wheelchair. We thought she was gonna be a vegetable. And by the grace of God, man, she came back.
Man,
The doctor was like shocked. She's like, no, I never seen anything like that in my life. The doctor was like, I know I'm not that good. Because when they were going to do the surgery, he was like, listen, there's a 10% chance. There's barely any chance. You might as well pull the plug. And my sister, we were like, nah, if there's any chance at all, we're going to take it. Right? We're praying. We keeping a positive mindset. So, no, go ahead, do it. At least we know we gave her a fair shot. So he went and do the surgery, came out like, it was successful.
Wow.
And my mom was down for like 30 minutes. And after 3 to 6 minutes, the brain, without oxygen, is a lot of damage.
Yeah, 10%. It goes on 10%.
A lot of damage, right? From 6 minutes to 10 minutes, irreversible damage. That means that even they bring the person back, they're never going to be the same. From 10 minutes or more, that's it. Brain's dead. Done. Finished. And she was down for 30 minutes. So when my sister found her, she had blood coming out of her mouth, nose. She went on, she defecated on herself. Went number 1, number 2, you name it, in the bathroom. And that's one of the things too that really I wanted to be a firefighter because of that. The way the firefighters took care of her and how they handled the situation, took her to the hospital, gave her a chance too also.
Wow.
So, and they did the surgery, now she's back. But not to be sidetracked. So that's how I was helping my mom, you know, because she wasn't working. Till this day, my mom never worked. It was always been me and my sisters, you know, my brother, just helping out. So now they took my money, and I'm like, wow, so what do I do, man? I lost my money. The school wasn't accredited. I got to go back to another school. Then I went to Barry University, accredited school. And good thing for me, I explained my situation, what happened to me. They had a waiting list. They're like, nah, we'll take you in.
Wow.
We'll take you in. You start like in 3 months. I was like, okay, perfect. So I was going back and forth, you know, working. And at the time, I left Checkers and I went to work for a warehouse in Miami, like close to the airport. So I was going back and forth, you know, going to Barry, EMT school. So that's when I finished there, and right away I went to Fire Academy, right? Right after EMT, I went to Fire Academy. I didn't take my state board exam, nothing, which hurt me. I wish I studied, took my state exam, then go to the Fire Academy, or then go to paramedic school. So what ended up happening is that while I was in EMT school, I didn't have a car. Something happened. I bought my first car, it was a lemon, you know, I don't know, I was excited. So now I'm catching the bus, bro, from by the airport all the way to Pembroke Pines. Because I wasn't doing the EMT program at 111, the main campus at Barry University. I had to do it in Pines. That's where they moved the EMT program. Lucky for me, I'm gonna say lucky for me, they moved it from the main campus all the way to Pembroke Pines. So I was like catching the bus. So I was going home every night because it was a night class. I was going home, catching the bus, getting home at 1 or 2 in the morning, then to wake up at 4 in the morning, get ready to go to my job and do it all over again. And right after that, went to Fire Academy. And I finished Fire Academy. Good thing about the Fire Academy, the state come in, at the time when I went in 2012-13, the state come to the school and they test you. And if you pass, you know you pass and you get your license in the mail, right? So they didn't wait. So they came to the school, we test, and I passed. So all that Fire Academy things I was doing, I forgot about EMT. Now I'm looking at my date of graduation for EMT, and I only have 2 months to take the state exam. Now I'm rushing to take the state exam. So remember, you gotta pay for the state, you gotta wait for a couple of weeks, they're gonna approve you. And I barely had any time, so when I finally take my EMT exam, I failed.
How'd you feel?
I devastated, bro.
Sheesh.
Something you know, I'm like, now I felt it. Okay, it's not a big deal because you get 6 tries to pass it. But what happened is, I didn't have any more time left, so I could not take the test again. So I had to do EMT school the 3rd time.
Oh my God.
Sheesh.
So doing EMT again, now I already did it once and twice, so I was breezing through it, you know, like it was like second nature for me. But all of that was preparing me for something else that I didn't know, right? So now I have my fire license and I have my EMT. I was so good in class, one of the instructors came to me and be like, man, you do this thing like nothing. I said, sir, listen, if I tell you I've done this class 3 times now, like I better know what I'm doing. He said, you know what? I like that you take ownership, you admit that you fell and then you start over again and you didn't stay down, you move forward. And that's the type of person we're looking for in the fire department. How would you like to work with me in Fort Myers? I was like, you work in Fort Myers? He was like, yeah. I'm like, I thought you worked for Cold Springs, because I went to, the 3rd time I went to the EMT school was in Cold Springs Fire Academy. He was like, nah, I just teach here, but I work in Fort Myers. But in your application, I'll put in a good word for you. And I applied. It took 9 months to call me back after my interview with Fort Myers.
9 months?
9 months. I remember I was chilling. And at the time, I was like, you know what? I'm not going to wait for them to give me a job. I'm going to work for AMR, American Medical Response. It's a private ambulance company down in Medley, close to Hialeah. So I remember I was in the ambulance, we mostly do inter-transfer, the transport, from inter-facility transport, from hospital to hospital. We don't do 911 calls. We don't show up at people's house. They call us and say, hey, there's a patient that needs to go to the hospital, pick them up, drop them at the hospital, or from hospital to hospital. So I was in the ambulance, and a 239 number, that's Fort Myers area code, and they called me and they said, hey, you still interested in the job? I was like, yeah, you bet. Man, it's been months. I forgot about the job. They're like, well, how would you like to come in for your drug test and everything else? And you the next guy up. And then I went to Fort Myers and I did everything, and it takes another month. And then they sent me the offer letter. And they said that you start in October 2016, and I'll never forget that day.
Wow. Man.
So a question I have with the fire process, why does it take so long for somebody to get hired? After all the certifications, why does it take 9 months for you to at least get a phone call? Or, because I hear, I have friends that is going through the same thing that possibly even went 2-3 years without getting hired after having all the certifications.
It's because it's a very, very, very competitive job. It's a job where, let me put it that way for you, right? You know how people work 5 days a week and they have a weekend, 2 days off, right? Every time we work, we get a weekend. Meaning that every time we work, we get 2 days off. So we work 24 hours, 48 off. And you only work 9 days at the month. And then every third week of the month, you get 5 consecutive days off. So you get a weekend every time you work, and you get a vacation every month or every 3 weeks. Plus you get benefits. You don't pay for health care. They pay it for you. It doesn't come out of your check or nothing. And you have a pension, meaning that if you work X amount of years, you get a certain percentage for the rest of your life. Meaning that, let's do basic math, right? Let's say you retire making $100,000 a year, right? Let's say you work 25 years of service. And some people, it's some departments, they have different percentage, different calculations. Let's say if your department do 3.2% per year. So if you work 25 years times 3.2, what do we get?
You're on $80,000.
80 something, right?
Yeah.
So you make $80,000 for the rest of your life. And you get a COLA, cost of living assistant, right? Meaning that as times get hard, as living expenses get, higher, they increase your money. Not only that, they have a separate account called, you set it up, a Roth. Let's say you put $250 a paycheck, which is $500 a month, equals about $6,000 a year, right? Mm-hmm. You only shy $1,500 to be the max into the Roth. You get, after 25 or 30 years, you get around $2 or $3 million. That's just for you in your pocket. And not only that,
that's a lot of ends, bro.
That's a lot of ends.
They have a program while you working before you retire called a drop program.
Yeah, the drop.
Right?
The drop. Mm-hmm.
Where, let's say you do your 20 years of service, but you won't doing 25, or you're doing 30, you do 25. At your 25th year, you go into the drop. It's like you retire, but you're still working. Meaning that all the money you make go into this investment account for you, purposely for you, and still contributing to your pension So when you retire, they cut you a check, depends how the market is, it might be 500 grand, 700,000, 800,000, $1 million, depends, right? So now, when you retire, you leave with a pension paying you for the rest of your life. You leave with money that you save up in the Roth for like 3-4 million, and you get $500,000 cash. So this is why it's so competitive and it's so hard to get into. So a lot of times fire departments will open for 2 spots, 2 firefighters. 1,000 people apply, and they want the best of the best. Any little thing can disqualify you. 1 ticket, you're gone. Bad credit, you're gone. You show up to the interview, you didn't shave, you're gone. You didn't wear a tie, you're gone. You wear the wrong colors, you're gone. They gotta do that because they got too many people applying for the job. And they do self-elimination. You eliminate yourself. They'll put strict instructions saying like, hey, you need to show up to the interview with blue tie. And you didn't read that. You show up to the interview with another color tie, you're gone.
Wow.
Hey, the PHQ, PHQ is
a personal history
questionnaire, right?
Yeah.
They tell you to fill it out on purpose. Everything is digital. Why didn't they do it online? You know why? They want to see if you can pay attention, follow instructions. Because if you cannot follow basic instruction on the fire ground, you will not make it home. It's a dangerous job. You miss one little thing, you're not coming out that building.
It's true.
People's lives are in your hands. So you have to follow basic instruction. They'll tell you, fill out the application with black ink. You fill in blue ink, you're done. Next person.
Attentive to detail.
So that's why it's so competitive. That's why a lot of people wait 3-4 years. I got lucky that I got hired right after the fire academy. Well, right after EMT school. Because I thought it was a bad thing that I did EMT 3 times, but it was in my favor.
So, Vlad, what you doing this job for 10 years, right? And I know you've seen a lot of different stuff, a lot of different calls, a lot of people that you helped. What's the craziest call that you ever responded to that always replay in your head?
Thank God, knock on wood, thank God I never did anything with kids. I never saw a kid died. I never saw a kid burnt or shot, whatever. I think that would take me out. But the craziest thing I've dealt with was we were on I-75, right? It was an accident. Minor accident, nothing, no biggie, right? Young lady, while she was in her car calling her dad, hey, Dad, I got into a crash. The firefighters are here, the police is here, and this and that. The FHP,
FHP,
right?
Florida Highway Patrol.
Patrol, right? Mm-hmm. They forgot to block that lane. There goes semi.
Ooh.
Wham her.
From the back.
From the back. She was in the car, and the car compacted. And there goes her death, bro. It was such a loud noise, bro. And every time I keep hearing that boom, boom in my head, boom in my head, boom. Now I understand when those guys go to war and they tell you they have PTSD. It's a real thing. I didn't believe in that. PTSD. Boom. Car was like this. When you crush a soda can? And she was in there. She already called her dad. Now her dad is on the way, thinking that he's gonna pick up his daughter, and they're gonna go home happy. Dude came to the scene. I lost it. Started crying because I'm already thinking man, this dude gonna come here thinking he gonna find his daughter, but she's gone. Dude crying. Before he came, he's also a cop, right? He called some people that he knows. Yo, my daughter just called me. I'm calling back. She's not picking up. She told me to come pick her up. Can you tell me what's going on? They said, I don't know, brother, but it seems like someone died. He's like, nah, I just spoke to her. She couldn't have died,
Yeah.
And it was her, bro. He was crying. I was crying. they give us some time off. They give each firefighter that was on that call at least a month off to
decompress.
Do you guys also go to therapy for that?
Yeah. Well, I didn't, because Haitians, we don't believe in therapy, bro. I'm like, but what can I, but can they tell me I can't tell myself?
I feel like that sometimes too.
Muncie, lies. You can't. So I started therapy sessions, we have a great department therapist. She's great. So, the way she talks to you, it makes you feel like, wow, that's, now I have a different mindset about therapy. I thought it was like, nah, it's different, bro. It's like you talking to someone, they tell you, oh, do this, maybe you should try to do this. And they're professionals, they know, bro. They know. So that's one of the craziest thing that happened.
So Vlad, I asked you about the craziest now. Tell me about the best call. Like the call that made you the happiest.
The happiest?
You smiled about.
Yeah.
And you felt good.
I'm gonna say I'm gonna tell you two of them, right?
Go ahead.
One was my very first fire ever. It wasn't a big thing. It was a van on fire, but it was threatening a structure, like threatened to like another house.
Okay.
The flames was like going there. So we got on scene, and I'm like first month on the job, I'm like, man, this is it. Like, I put my gear on, fast, put my mask on, go on there, and then like I call for water. Hey, firefighter ready for water. Boom. They send water. Engineer send water. Line pop. And I bleed the line. Right? Let the air out. Because when the water come, it takes all that air and compress it up front.
Yeah.
So if you open it, it's just gonna like do a big mess. So you let the air out. Then I'm going in. I froze. Flames going. I'm like, bro, I froze. After all that training, I froze. And the captain came out of nowhere. Get your butt in there. He threw me in the van. Bro, I was inside the van and I felt the flames. And I'm going, and smoke started going out. Put it, bro, that was one of the best feelings ever. And I've been chasing that same feeling for the rest of my career. Cannot have it.
Have you been to another fire yet?
Yeah, I've been to plenty of fires since then, but that feeling, that moment was like the first time, bro, you never forget it.
Damn.
And another one is when I saved somebody's life.
How did you save somebody's life?
So we got a call, man down. That's all we got. That's all dispatch. Hey, white male down, go. So we looking for a white male, then we saw a guy in a warehouse. Done. So I was the first one to get off the truck. I'm running, putting my gloves on. Sir, are you okay? Like when they tell you textbook, sir, are you okay? No respond. Check for pulse, nothing. All right, go on the chest, pop, CPR. Pop. Dude went, ugh. I'm like, oh, he moved, I'm pumping. And then the paramedics see him start putting lines on him, start pushing epi, pushing thing, I'm cranking. And they're like, oh, shock advice. Clear, we clear? And they hit the shock button, boom, buddy went, and then I'm like, what a feeling, bro. And then I got a Phoenix Award for that.
Wow.
Yeah.
This
So
all
that
sounds
was
fun, man.
great, man. And you know what they say? Next to creating life is to save one.
Yeah.
So that was the best feeling, bro.
That's powerful. And you mentioned earlier about mentorship. So if someone is looking to being a firefighter, what path do you have as far as mentorship for them? How do you assist in those areas?
Well, I'm open for that. Like I always put my hands out there, reaching out to the youth or people in middle age, whatever. If that's the career you want to take, you can always reach out to me. I can help you look for the best schools with the best price, the fastest way of doing EMT and paramedic and fire, the best schools out there, the best skill set that you're gonna need. I have a whole plan Like if someone wants to take that route, you know, you just got to reach out to me. Unfortunately, I don't have I'm not on social media.
Oh, okay.
No social media.
I'm not a social media guy.
That's fine.
Right, but I'm willing to change that because I've been working on different things that I do besides being a firefighter. You know, like I'm recently, you know, find a passion for real estate. You know,
Yeah.
so I got to get myself out there. Now I got to do my Facebook page, Instagram, all of that, all over again. And currently, I'm in flight school.
Oh, that's interesting.
Oh yeah,
You in flight school, bro?
I'm 48 hours deep, bro. I'm a couple hours to get my private pilot license. That's the first license you get.
What's
Then
the goal with that? What do you plan on doing with that?
I do want to be a commercial airline pilot. I do, but at the same time, like I don't. But I do want to take people, like do charter flights. If I do get my license, do a commercial pilot, right? Get my commercial license, I want to do charter flights to like Haiti, Dominican Republic, Bahamas, you know, like buy like an 8-seater, 10-seater plane and then just, you know, take people out, you know, do my own thing, something I can call my own.
Gotcha.
Right? That's the plan.
All right, Vlad, for those that are watching, you can look into the camera. What is it that you would like the people to know about you?
What you need to know about me, man, I'm a hustler, man. You know, son of a hustler. My mom, man, that lady never quit. She didn't have an education. But having an education doesn't mean you're not smart. You don't know what you're doing. Yeah, education opened a lot of doors. Bro, I want to say I've done a lot of things in my life where I make 6 figures and I didn't even have an associate degree.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
So a lot of times we're men, bro. We use these. When this can't get you where you want to go, this will get you where you want to go. So that's who I am. I'm a hard worker, you know. I don't quit. And I'm very compassionate. I love people. I'm a, how can I say this? Like, you know how you're looking at someone, you're like, man, that person is suffering, and you're just not gonna do anything? Because I've been there. I've been to that side. How can I'm like someone who used to suffer, and then somebody suffering in front of me, and I don't help them? So I'm a teacher. I'm a coach. Mentor. You name it. I'm a man of all trades. That's what they call me. When I'm not fighting fire, I'm at the hospital working part-time.
Yeah.
When I'm not working part-time, I'm in the ER. I'm doing real estate. When I'm not doing real estate, I'm learning how to fly. You know, I do a lot of things.
So yeah, Vlad, so basically, do you have any words of encouragement for somebody that's actually in your shoes, like a Haitian immigrant, or it doesn't even matter if it's Haitian or any immigrant at all that's looking to actually strive and just came here?
Go for it.
Okay.
Go for it. You know, you have a dream. Like they say, I have a dollar in a dream. I didn't have the dollar. I just had the dream.
Gotcha.
And I went for it. Let me give you a quick story and a quick testimony on my job that I got, right? When the guy told me, hey, we got a job for you in Fort Myers, apply, boom, 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 I apply. And at the time, I didn't have a green card. I was still with the protected status, right? So now they gave me the job. It's time for me to do my HR paperwork. And the lady said, Mr. Rene, now we need your passport so we can put you in the system. You hired, this and that. How you start? I'm like, you mean my Haitian passport? That's what I got. She said, no, your American passport. Nobody told you this was a job for citizens? I was like, no, nobody told me that. In fact, I look at the online requirements. It says, as long as you're able to work in the United States. And I'm able to work in the United States. She said, well, yeah, that's right. I'm like, well, if anything, you guys are gonna have to change that. She like, man, like everyone here is a citizen. I'm like, she like, well, then give me your green card. I was like, lady, I don't even have a green card.
I don't got none of that.
You don't. She like, wait a minute, what is going on? She thought it was a joke. I said, I don't have a green card. She's like, what do you have? I said, I got my social and a work permit. But I did apply to be a citizen. I'm lying. I applied to renew my TPS. But if you know about immigration, they don't put like, which they just say, hey, this is your receipt you apply for, and it says USCIS. So they see immigration and citizens. They're like, oh, okay, he applied for the citizenship. She's like, okay, I'll take the paperwork for now. When you get your paperwork in the mail, bring it to me. Till this day, I never went back to that lady's office.
Wow. That's God.
Now I'm a citizen. I never went back.
That's amazing.
So I got the job that it wasn't even supposed to be mine because I'm not a citizen. But when you go for something, bro, when you have your certifications, when you have the things that you need, the requirements, when you have everything and you go for it, things will happen for you, man. Just don't say, just go for it.
Just go for it.
Go for it.
Well, you heard that, everybody. Just go for it. Thank you for being here with us today. Would like to take this time to thank all of our sponsors: A&Z Formal Wear, Stardust Studios, Comprehensive Health Center, Gourmet Gatherings. Would like to also thank all of you, our viewers and listeners. Thank you for always supporting us. Remember to like, comment, share, subscribe. Thank you.